Hello everyone. I'm going to explain about residential status of an individual in this video. Residential status is nothing but the taxability of any individual in India depends upon his residential status in for particular financial year. The term residential status has been coined under the income tax law of India and must not confused with an individual's citizenship in India. An individual may be a citizen of India but may end up being a non-resident for a particular year. Similarly, a foreign citizen may end up being a resident of India for income tax purposes for a particular year. So it must not be confused with the citizenship and the residential status. So in this video, we are going to discuss about how residential status of an assessee can be determined at any particular financial year. So there are three different classifications have been done for the purpose of Income Tax Act in India. The first one is a resident and ordinary resident, in short ROR, a resident but not ordinary resident, a RNOR, a non-resident. So the taxability differ from each stage of above categories of taxpayers. Before we get into taxability, let us first understand how a taxpayer becomes a resident but not ordinary resident and non-resident. So resident is a person or a taxpayer who stays in India for a year as 182 days or more in previous year, or stay in India for immediately for preceding year as 365 days or more and 60 days or more in the relevant financial year. Resident but not ordinary resident. So this is the criteria here. And if any individual qualifies as a resident, the next step is to determine if he or she is a resident or ordinary resident, which can be classified by following the two conditions. The first one is he or she has been a resident of India in at least 2 out of 10 immediately previous year, and he has to stay in India for at least 730 days in 7 immediately preceding years. Therefore, there are three situations in which an individual is said to be resident but not ordinary resident. So, if any individual fails to satisfy either or none of the above mentioned conditions, if any individual is an Indian citizen or person of Indian origin having a total income more than exceeding 15 lakhs, excluding foreign income, who has been in India for 120 days or more, but less than 182 days during the previous year. If an individual is deemed to be resident in India, but default he will be considered as resident but not ordinary resident. So the third one is not resident. The third category, any individual failing to satisfy the condition of stay in India for 182 days or more in the previous year, or 60 days or more in the previous year, and 365 days in the 4 years preceding previous years. So if he failing to satisfy even any one of the condition, he will be declared as a non-resident. So this is the complete chart for easy understanding. When you look at it, you can easily remember the conditions to determine the real residential status of any individual. So first condition, 180 days or more or less than 180 days. When the days become less than 182, then he falls under two condition. We have to check whether it is 182 days or more or less than 182 days or less than 122 days. So if it is less than 122 days, then automatically becomes non-resident. If it is more than 120 days, then we have to check two other conditions. Whether he earned income 15 lakhs, more than 15 lakhs, and others fall into non-resident category. So we can easily understand how to determine residential status of an individual with this flow chart. Then taxability, resident and ordinary resident will be charged to tax in India on his global income. Resident but not ordinary resident is there is a thin line in taxability of income between ROR and RNOR, and below incomes are not required to pay tax. Non-resident will be charged tax only on the income received in India or source of income received in India. So these are all the various taxability of income of persons with the different status or as under. So this will be helpful for understanding of different category of residential status of an individual. We have given it as, if it is applicable, it is mentioned as yes. So these are all the various information in connection with determining residential status of an individual under Income Tax Act. Thanks for watching.